Today, most people, like, in order to get your attention, we all know what they do. It's called clickbait. Let me create a headline that'll grab you. It doesn't matter if the content is even real news or not. A lot of times the headline isn't really what the whole story is, but it pulls you in. There's whole groups of people whose entire life is designing algorithms and language to make you stay online more so they can make more money, but it isn't necessarily to your advantage. So what Jim Rohn used to say to me is, he said, Tony, this is your new daily practice. Because this is what I really want to get to you guys here, is if you want to keep momentum, if you join me for those few days there, the 5-6 days or 7, I guess we did for the challenge, or you went immersion with me as well, the key is to get momentum and keep momentum. If you work your tail off to get momentum going and then you drop it, oh my God, you got to start all over again. And so the way you do that is you have a daily practice. It's not like, years ago I went to a seminar by Jim Rohn and then my life was perfect. It's like I kept immersing myself in all these things, but I also made sure each day I was making some form of progress. If you want to know what makes people happy, write down progress equals happiness. Think about it. You can achieve everything in the world and still go, is this all there is? You can achieve something and be excited, but for how long? The only way you stay happy and excited is to keep growing. Progress is everything. If you're making progress on your body, progress in your mind, progress in your emotion, you're going to feel happy. When you get there, you feel excited, but again, for how long? A year? No. 6 months? 3 months? 3 weeks? 3 days? 3 hours? Because we're not made to just sit and, be successful. We're made to grow. We're made to, then as we grow, we have something to give. So step one is, let's see if you can put a little system of standing guard at your mind. And Jim Rohn said to me back then, the number one thing you have to do is read 30 minutes a day. So never less than 20 minutes. And I'm not talking about what comes to your phone. I'm not talking about clickbait. I mean a book. I mean something that you pursue. Great ideas are never going to interrupt you. They have to be pursued. And if you don't pursue them, you're going to get what everybody else has, which is all this fear, all this uncertainty, all this stuff that won't work, because everybody's focused on what won't work, what can't happen. Why? Because they're afraid. They're afraid to fail. They're afraid to try and feel like they're not enough. So you got to stand guard of that mind by feeding your mind. Jim Rohn used to say to me, success leaves clues. If you want things to get better, you got to get better. If you want things to change, you got to change. But you got to do it deliberately and consciously. And he used to say to me constantly, he said, Tony, you've got to constantly find a way to feed that mind, something that's got strategy in it, philosophy, something that's going to improve the quality of your life. And if you really learn it, you can help the people you love with the things you learn. And so I got hooked. And so I decided I'm going to read a book a day. I took a speed reading course, and I didn't read a book a day, but I read 700 books over the period of 7 years, all in the area of philosophy, physiology, emotion, the things to me that mattered most. And what I really try to do is each day try to use something I learned, not just read, not just let my learning lead to knowledge. Jim used to say, if you let your learning lead to knowledge, you become a fool. If you let your learning lead to action, that's when your life changes. The largest loss in 75 years, it's been right 85% of the time, the largest loss was 3.95, as that was 2008. Less than 4% when the rest of the world, from top to bottom, lost 51%. It's in my book, by the way. And so a bunch of my partners were like, hey, this is a business. Don't put that shit in the book. And I said, it is a great business. We can help people do it if they want to do it, but it wasn't offered in that spirit. So it's there. I tell you this because I want you to understand, with engagement, you can get anything. But engagement, I want you to define it, I want you to experience it. So what's the first thing that allows you to engage somebody? What's the number one thing? Right now, if I said to you, what is it? How many think Mark is a fairly engaging guy without blowing smoke? How many have to say this guy's pretty damn engaging? Say I. What makes him engaging? What makes somebody you find engaging? What makes them engaging to you? What is it about them? Think about it. Say it out loud. What makes somebody engaging? The positive? What's that? Eye contact makes somebody engaging. She's talking about another level of engagement. I can feel it right now. What else creates somebody engaging? Come on. Smile. What else makes them engaging? Energy. Passion. Talking the truth instead of what you want to hear. Who loves someone who will tell you the damn truth in the world? The world, not even reality television is freaking real anymore, right? Raw and real may not sound good, but it sure feels good because you know it's there. Sincerity, when you feel like somebody, how about caring? When you feel like somebody truly cares about you, does that make you engage more? Right? What makes something disengaging to you? What makes you disengage with someone? Lying, when you can't trust them? Arrogance, when they try to control you? What disengages you?
When they come up to hit on you and they're not even committed, you're like the 12th person and you can feel it. When they're insincere, disengages you. What's that? When the communication or the relationship is one-sided, totally disengages you, doesn't it? Inauthenticity. Whereas authentic does engage you, doesn't it? Right? What's that? Yes, when they're on their phone talking to you while they're also doing something else. How many love this experience? And yet we've made it culturally okay, depending upon what generation you're in. Depends on how your mindset is and where you live in the world, I guess, to some extent. But all the things you said are true. When you feel that someone cares about you, is interested in you, is sincere with you, shares the same interests, is trying to accomplish something, if there's that caring, sincerity, mission, passion, is passion something engages you, yes or no? And then disengagement's the opposite. But all of them start with one thing that I want to do right now so we can shift this gear, because you've been sitting way too long and so quietly, you've been so nice, but this passive learning has got to end now. I just did it so it wouldn't feel jolting when we began. Now we can step into the real game. And here's how I want to do that. First of all, energy. Energy is the base. How many agree energy is engaging? Say I. If you want to change something in your life and you are what I call energy poor, low energy, are you going to follow through, yes or no? You love your husband or wife, but you're exhausted. Love you, yeah, love you, okay. There is no passion. There is no intimacy without energy, am I right? You're not going to go to build a business without energy.
I don't think most people are very good at emotional fitness. Most people are just not as happy as they could be. You know, I did one book, Money Master the Game. It's kind of like this.
Yes.
Only, and what I did in that case is I interviewed, 50 of the smartest financial people in the world.
Yes.
Ray Dalio, Carl Icahn, Warren Buffett. And out of 50 of them, and again, it's in my judgment, I could be completely wrong. And I've spent a lot of time with them. Some have become really good friends. There's probably 4 or 5 that are really happy people. You go, oh, well, money makes people unhappy. Money, it has nothing to do with money. Money makes you more of what you are. It just magnifies. If you're mean, you have more to be mean with. If you're kind, you have more to give, But I think that most people are just, they haven't learned to manage what's going inside. It doesn't matter how much abundance they have, they're still unhappy. We've all seen people great comedians that have killed themselves. Anthony Bourdain, beautiful man, traveled the world, killed himself, fashion designers that have done it. We've all seen all these different people, Kate Spade. And it's like, what? They had everything, except they didn't master what's going on here and here. And this is why you lived your life the way you have as well. So I think that skill set is the most important one. That's why even in the book, my last 2 chapters I think are the most important, because it's really about the power of the mind. Because everybody knows about placebos, right? They were only discovered in World War II. And it was discovered by accident. This doctor ran out of morphine, and he's treating these people that are badly injured. And you need the morphine not just so they're out of pain, but so they don't go into shock. And the actual person who discovered this gets no credit was the nurse, because the nurse handed him a syringe and said, we've got some more morphine. So he believed it, and he said, you'll be out of pain in just less than a minute. Wow. He injected them, and in every case, none of them went into shock. 90% of them were out of pain, and they used nothing. It was saline, right? So after World War II, he went back to Harvard, and he was the person that created what we now consider to be the double-blind studies, which are always compared to a placebo, right? And what most people don't know is, the bigger the placebo intervention, the more powerful the mind believes it. So a small pill is less effective than a big pill. An injection is more powerful than a pill in terms of its effectiveness. The most powerful is a sham surgery. The Veterans Administration did a study, and they did on people doing knee surgeries, and they took 1/3 of the people and they just cut them open, anesthetized them, and sewed them back up, did nothing. A year later, this group, the group that had no surgery, had the least amount of pain, the most amount of flexibility, so they stopped funding those surgeries, to give you an idea. But that's how powerful it is. And so it's even more than Harvard did a study where they took barbiturates, made these big red pills, and said, this is an amphetamine, you need to prepare your body because you're gonna speed up. They didn't give them something fake, they gave them an actual drug that slows the body down and the body sped up. So most people don't understand the power of the mind. And so what I try to do is show people, even in this book, here are the things that you can do to take control of your mind, because if you take care of your body and then you don't take care of your mind and emotions, you're gonna be miserable. I think everybody is born with hunger. There's a desire to grow, to expand, to learn, and then disappointment sets in early in life for most people. And then we look to blame something outside of ourselves. And there are many events in our lives that can affect us all. We've all had pain and challenges.
But I think if you can find within yourself the part of you that wants to constantly give something more than yourself, if you can find a mission larger than yourself, then you're more pulled to do something than trying to push yourself. And pull has much more power than push. I always say motive does matter. That if your motive is to serve something greater, there is an energy that comes up inside of you. So I feed 2 million people a year because somebody fed my family when I was 11 years old, and now this year we're feeding 4 million. I want to do more in that area. And every business I'm in, that drive just doesn't go away.